Welcome, everybody. My name is Bracha Jaffe. I just finished my first year in Yeshivat Maharat. At this moment, 7 o'clock in Israel, there's a gathering at the Kotel of Tehillim and Tefillot for the safe rescue of the three boys. Right now, there's a tefillah at the Kotel. So we're going to say a parak of Tehillim and a Mishaberach. I'd like to ask everybody to rise. שיר למעלות, אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אדוני עושה שמיים וארץ. אל ייתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומרך. הנה לא ינום ולא יישן, שומר ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם. מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, יוסף, משה ואהרון, דוד ושלמה, ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וישמור וינצור את נדרי צבא הגנה לישראל ושבוייו, ובתוכם גלעד מיכאל בן בת גלים, יעקב נפתלי בן רחל, אייל בן איריס תשורה, ואת כל אחינו ואחיותינו הנתונים בצרה ובשביה, בעבור שכל הקהל הקדוש הזה מתפלל בעבורם, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, ויוציאם מחושך וצל מוות, ומוסרותיהם ינתק, וממצוקותיהם יושיעם, וישיבם מהרה לחיק משפחותיהם, יודו לאדוני חסדו ונפלאותיו לבני אדם, ויקוים בהם מקרא שכתוב, ופדויי אדוני ישובון, ובאו לציון ברינה, ושמחת עולם על ראשם, ששון ושמחה ישיגו ונעשו יגון והנחה, ונאמר אמן.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Leah Krakenowski, and I have the privilege of serving on the board of Yeshivat Maharat. Can everyone hear me? Okay. All right. All right, how's that? I'll lean in. Okay. I'm glad you got that. When an 86-page pamphlet calling for the establishment of a Jewish state was published early in 1896, mainstream Jewish leaders throughout Europe dismissed the idea out of hand, and some even publicly disparaged its author. It was against God's will, some said. Others feared that this visionary notion threatened the conventional wisdom at the time, that what Jews really needed to do was to assimilate, integrate in their home countries in order to earn acceptance. All the early form of lobbying that was done, the writing, the pushing, and the tireless fundraising for the formation of a new world Zionist organization and a Jewish state seemed foreign, uncomfortable, radical, even threatening. We all now know that Theodor Herzl, the venerated founder of modern Zionism, first published this pamphlet, I think it was called Der Judenrat, because he believed that the only way to combat rising anti-Semitism was for the Jewish people to have a home of their own, a home that provided a formal structure for Jews to freely practice their religion and to live their culture. He was not alone in this endeavor. There definitely were those who both quietly and openly threw their support behind him and the untested idea of a new nation. As most of us in the room know, Herzl died some 45 years before his vision became reality. Yet his indefatigable efforts to push for a Jewish homeland have been forever memorialized on Mount Herzl, where we know his remains were moved from Vienna and reinterred, and that his name and his achievement are now permanently attached to many neighborhoods and streets all over Israel, in national forests, and on school buildings. And I read that the day before he died, he told a friend and fellow crusader against anti-Semitism, Reverend William Henry Hechler, and I believe this is a quote, "Greet Palestine for me. I gave my heart's blood for my people." So today I invoke the memory of Herzl not to equate or even compare the mission of Yeshivat Maharat and our graduates to the founding of Zionism and the State of Israel, or even to say that we, like him, sometimes feel alone in this pursuit. On the contrary, like Herzl, Yeshivat Maharat stands out as a powerful example of what it means, truly, to be at the forefront of change, to gather momentum as our graduates fan out into communities as spiritual and halachic leaders, and to do it with the courage and the leadership of a dedicated faculty and a growing cadre of supporters. As chairman of the board, I have the distinct privilege of working with a group of very smart, very thoughtful, spirited individuals who are committed to helping ensure the viability of Yeshivat Maharat. And I'd like those board members who are here and our faculty to please stand so that together we can recognize the quiet dedication you have given to this institution and its students. Can I ask you to please stand? I'd also like to thank you, the families, the supporters who are here, the organizational and religious leaders who are here, and our founder, who both see and understand the vision of Yeshivat Maharat. And of course to our students and our graduates today, whose training and commitment are bringing a new brand of Jewish spiritual leadership to communities around the world. I'd now like to introduce fellow board member and MC of today's ordination ceremony, and one of the spunkiest individuals I've had the privilege of meeting, Abigail Tambor.
Thank you, Leah, for your words and your leadership. We will now begin our program in earnest with a prayer from a member of our inaugural graduating class, Maharat Rachel Cole-Feingold, who has spent the past year in Montreal as the Director of Education and Spiritual Enrichment at Congregation Shar Shamayim.
V'ha'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha befinu u'befi amcha Beit Yisrael. Hashem, our God, please make the words of your Torah sweet in our mouths and in the mouths of your people, the house of Israel. We come together today to honor and celebrate the new graduates of Yeshivat Maharat. We honor and celebrate the Torah they have studied, the Torah they have taught, and the Torah which they will teach in the future. Hashem, our God, may all these words of Torah be sweet. Grant these graduates inspiration. Guide them to use their knowledge wisely and justly. May they see the fruits of their labors, the flourishing of their students, and the success of their endeavors. We also show honor and gratitude to the supporters of Yeshivat Maharat. Kol mi she'oskim b'tzarchei tzibur be'emunah, those who give of their energy and their resources to the community, helping to grow this precious institution and thereby impact the entire Jewish community. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishalem secharam. May they see the fruits of their efforts, and may their rewards be great. And as we say in the Hadran, which is recited when one completes a tractate of Talmud, Yehi ratzon shetehei toratcha umanutenu ba'olam hazeh. Hashem, our God, may your Torah be our vocation in this world. As we celebrate today's graduates, we recognize the greatness and the challenges of making Torah one's livelihood. God, please guide and protect these women among all the Torah scholars, women and men, who have chosen to dedicate their careers to learning, to teaching, and to inspiring others. Grant them strength, security, and confidence that they may serve the Jewish people faithfully. Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. Amen.
It is now my distinct honor to call Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz, Dean of Yeshivat Maharat, to the podium. Rabbi Sarah.
I have been given the distinct honor of bestowing you, Devorah, with the honorary degree of Chachama. But before I do, I want to just take a moment to thank God for bringing me and all of us to this moment. I am in awe that I'm standing in the company of my colleagues, the first Yeshivat Maharat graduates, Rachel, Ruth, and Abby. And we are moments away from ordaining two more incredible women, Victoria and Rory, who have already, each in their own way, touched and inspired the lives of countless people. I'm blessed to work with an unbelievable faculty, Dr. Esther Altman, Aaron Leap-Smokler, Avital Engelberg, and of course our Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Jeffrey Fox, each of whom elevates Torah learning to new heights. And to a staff that makes the work possible, to Dahlia Miller, Yael Keller, and Dr. Sharon Weiss Greenberg. And of course to you, Rav Avi, who models for me every day how to live a life of integrity and love, how to dream and how to transform dreams into reality. To Rabbi Sperber, who is our musmach, who is has agreed to give our donation to our students. We thank you so much for bringing your spirit and your wisdom to Yeshivat Maharat. And none of this would be possible without the tireless work of the board and all of you, our supporters, who have helped Yeshivat Maharat flourish. And now to you, Devorah. Oh, how the tables have turned. It was 11 years ago when you honored me by speaking at my Drisha graduation, and just 6 years ago when you introduced me at my smicha ceremony. You have always been my role model, my teacher, shepherding me towards the next milestone. And it is now my turn, my distinct honor on behalf of Yeshivat Maharat, to bestow upon you the honorary degree of Chachama. You are a fount of Chachma, of wisdom in our community's eyes, and we recognize your profound scholarship and groundbreaking leadership with this title. The Torah in Vayikra teaches, Mipnei Seva Takum, you shall stand before one who is a Seva. Although the Pshat interprets Seva as one who has seniority in years, the Targum Onkelos and the Gemara and Kedushin explain that Seva refers to a Talmid Chacham, a person who is learned in Torah. And indeed, the Shulchan Aruch records the obligation to rise, to stand before a scholar as a halacha mid'oraita. But Chazal wonder, who is considered to be a Talmid Chacham? What criteria must a scholar possess to inspire others to stand? At this point, I could turn to the Shulchan Aruch, to the Ramah, to Rishonim, Achromim, all who offer a specific description of the type of knowledge and character that a Talmid Chacham must have. But you, Devara, are sitting right before us. And I don't actually have to look in any sefer because the answer is right here before us. Who is a Talmidat Chachamim, a Talmidah Chachama? Who deserves our kavod? It is you, Devara, you who are the epitome of the Talmidah Chachama. A Talmidah Chachama must be filled with Torah knowledge. Those of us who have studied Gemara and Halacha with Devara know that her scholarship, her depth and breadth of Torah is exquisite. It's hard to believe that Devara only began learning Gemara formally at the age of 25, and yet in a short time you have mastered Talmud Torah, can learn any parsha at a moment's notice, and have dedicated your life to teaching hundreds and thousands of Talmidim and Talmidot, from Drisha, Hadar, Jofa, SAR, Yeshivat Maharat, HIR, Wexner, Shachar, and around the world, all who sit at your feet to learn from you, a Torah giant. But having knowledge is only one criteria of a Talmidah Chachama. In the Torah, almost every time the word Chachma is used, it refers not to pure wisdom, but to the ethic of kindness. When God bestows wisdom, Chachma, Tfuna, and Da'at on Bezalel, Rashi, quoting the Sifrei, interprets Chachma as the ability to hear, to listen to what others are saying, and then to learn. And the Gemara in Brachot teaches that the highest form of wisdom is kindness. You are the kind of scholar that possesses a deep sensitivity to the human spirit. Your wisdom is not only in your head, but in your ability to discern what people feel, what is in their hearts and souls. You're a Talmidah Chachama, a teacher whose compassion and empathy draws people in. It is this sensitivity that has driven you, along with your husband, Rav Dov, to call our community to greater sensitivity to those with learning disabilities and other silent disabilities. It is rare to find a person of such knowledge who also possesses the wisdom of compassion for everyone, fighting against discrimination of every form. Your kindness, Devara, is an integral part of your wisdom. Now, those of us who know Devara know that for her, listening to any praise is difficult. Her reticence has precedent in the Gemara, where there is a debate about whether making people stand for a Talmid Chacham is actually a tircha, a burden that should be avoided. Abaye, Masechah Kedushin, suggests that a scholar should actually go out of his way to ensure that people do not stand. The Talmid Chacham, or Talmidah Chachama, should circumvent situations where people might be burdened to rise in their honor. You too, Devara, shun the kavod you so deserve. But the time has come. This honor is long overdue. Our community owes a tremendous debt of gratitude for your decades of service, for normalizing advanced Torah learning for women, for modeling that women can learn and teach on the highest level, for inspiring hundreds to follow in your footsteps. It is fitting that this institution, that Yeshivat Maharat, one that you have contributed your Torah scholarship to as a member of our faculty, that we acknowledge your contribution to the world of women's Torah study and leadership. And it is your Torah, a Torah of compassion and humility, that we strive to learn from you. And so, Devar, in front of your family, in front of your beautiful family, Kasriel and Natanel and Rav Dov, I ask you to come forward to accept this honorary degree of Chachama, a degree that is befitting of a Talmidah Chachama. And we ask that as you rise, please allow each of us to fulfill the mitzvah d'oraita, the Torah commandment to rise before a Torah genius, a woman of deep compassion and humility and scholarship, a Talmidah Chachama. Please rise. Yeshivat Maharat bestows our esteemed scholar and teacher, Devar Zlachara, Devar Malka Bat Yitzchak Aram V'Moshe, with the honorary degree Chachama, in recognition of her outstanding scholarship and for inspiring women to greater Torah learning and spiritual leadership, signed by Rabbi Avraham Weiss, Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz, and Rabbi Jeffrey Fox.
Please sit down, you're making me nervous. Thank you, Rabbi Sarah. It has been a source of great pride to see your leadership at my shul and now as Dean of Yeshivat Maharat. Telchi mechayel achayel. Modani lefanecha Hashem Elokai shesamta chelki miyoshvei Beit HaMidrash. I thank you, God, for having given my portion among those who sit in the Beit Midrash. These words, according to the Gemara and Brachot Chavchet Amud Bet, open a tefillah recited upon leaving the Beit Midrash, and, said in the plural, may be found in the Hadran, the prayer of thanksgiving recited at a siyum. These words speak to the gratitude I feel today. It was never obvious that I would find my chelek among those who sit in the Beit Midrash. It was my dream, since I was a young girl, to study Torah. But like many dreams, this one seemed fantastical, unreal. Girls and women in my world did not sit in the Beit Midrash, and they didn't study Gemara. My overwhelming emotion today, as it has been on so many others, days in which I have had the privilege to study and teach Torah, is one of profound thanksgiving and hakarat hatov to God, to my teachers, to my parents, to my students, and to those women who came before me and with me and opened the doors to those Batei Midrash. My hakarat hatov does not negate the very real challenges of the enterprise for those of us who are Yoshvot Beit HaMidrash. This is no simple task, nor is it always a joyful path. We still face significant obstacles. Many Batei Midrash are not open to women. It is not a simple matter to find superb teachers of Torah, and it is even harder to find our own place as recognized teachers of Torah and religious leaders. And yet we are here, and here to stay. And we will continue to stake our claim in the Shalshelet HaMasorah, the sacred tradition going back to Sinai. We will add our voices to the lively, multivocal tradition that is our chelek, our Yerusha. Victoria and Rory, it has been an honor and a pleasure to learn Torah with you, and I am so grateful that you have given me a place in what is truly your celebration. I didn't have to take any bechinot to get this award. I am so thrilled to be here to celebrate your tremendous accomplishment and to wish you well as you embark on the next steps of your journeys as scholars, educators, and religious leaders. I'm particularly touched to be here with you today, as the three of us have in common that our seats in the Beit Midrash are not something any of us takes for granted. You have indeed earned your mikamot in the Beit Midrash, and I wish you great success in the years ahead. Thank you to all the students, teachers, staff, and leadership of Yeshivat Maharat. Thank you to my students. I'm blessed to have so many students who have taught me so very much. Finally, a special thank you to my greatest teachers, my sons, Kasriel and Nathaniel, who enlighten me every day of my life, and to my wonderful partner, Mori Rabbi Ishi Dov. In so very many ways, I could not have done this without you, without your guidance, your support, and your chokhmah. Thank you.
Mazal Tov Dvorah. On this very, very well-deserved honor and recognition, some of us would say very, very long overdue. For the years you have dedicated to learning and teaching Torah, you have proven yourself to be an invaluable source of wisdom and inspiration to so many in so many different capacities, and it is our honor to enact this insufficient Hakarat HaTov for all you have done to advance women's learning in general and our mission in particular. So Mazal Tov. It is now time to ordain the second class of Yeshivat Maharat. I would like to welcome, beside me, Maharat Rachel Cole-Feingold, Maharat Ruth Belinsky-Friedman, and Maharat Abby Brown-Shire, and invite them to the stage so they can welcome the newest members of the small but growing family of Orthodox women serving as clergy upon their receipt of smicha and klaf. It gives me great pleasure to announce that both of our smicha candidates have already spent the past year serving as clergy. Rory Picker-Neese continues to serve in St. Louis as the Director of Programming, Education, and Community Engagement at the Base Abraham Congregation. Victoria Brilo is the Rabbinic Fellow for Synagogue Initiatives at the Shalom Hartman Institute of North America and the Intern for Synagogue Education at Ohav Shalom in Merrick, Long Island. She is currently in contract with a synagogue on the West Coast, and we look forward to sending out an official announcement about her placement in the coming days. In addition, it is so exciting to let you know that next year we will be welcoming our largest incoming class to date, 7 students. Bringing our total of over 20 students preparing to serve the Orthodox community as clergy. We are growing, both in strength and number. The community at large is recognizing the excellence of our graduates and the rigorous requirements of our program. It is now time to recognize the 2 women who have completed this program with distinction. It is my honor to invite Rabbi Daniel Sperber, Yeshivat Maharat's posek, Rabbi Avi Weiss, our founder, Rabbi Jeffrey Fox, our Rosh Yeshiva, and Rabbi Sarah to the stage to ordain our graduates.
Victoria Brilo, please rise. Achotenu at hayil alfei revava.
Having Victoria in Shir for 4 years has been an amazing experience. Victoria, you never let me get away with anything. If something that I said was unclear or incomplete, you'd always ask a sharp question. You would even occasionally remind me of something I said last year or 2 years ago. What's so amazing is that you apply that same sense of rigor to yourself and to all of your interactions. Your ability to read a social situation and understand what is necessary, even at times to your own personal detriment, sometimes even within the walls of the yeshiva, is inspiring. Your sensitivity to the needs of others will serve you well in your career. Victoria is currently negotiating a contract to serve on the clergy team in a shul, and we're so excited for both you and Adam to serve the community together so beautifully. Victoria, your work in the homeless shelter has always inspired me. Not only the fact that you organized the food and regularly slept there, but even more powerfully that you never asked for recognition. You never even told us. Some of us were unaware that it was going on for over a year. We also have a special surprise for you. As you know, this past year, Lila Kajin, a soon-to-be 4th-year student of the yeshiva, lost her father after a long struggle. The Kajdan family has chosen to honor Ian's memory by granting a memorial prize for excellence in the study of Tanakh. Thank you very much to Lila and the extended family for your generosity, and may Ian's neshama continue to have aliyot in the merit of this gift and in the Torah that we continue to learn in his memory. One of Victoria's many talents is her deep knowledge and love of written as well as oral Torah. Victoria, you are being awarded the Ian J. Kajdan Zal Memorial Prize for Studies in Tanakh. Ian Kajdan, Zichrono Livracha, was a biblical philologist and scholar devoted to community, service, human rights, Am Yisrael, and family. It is my honor to present this award to you. I now call upon Rabbi Avi Weiss.
Victoria Brilo has been found worthy and granted authority to teach and determine halachic rulings for the Jewish people, and has been ordained as a spiritual leader and decisor of Jewish law. Malka bat Shmuel Rachamim v'Leah Devora nimtze'a re'uya lihiyot manhiga ruchanit ulahorot halacha b'Yisrael v'husmecha beheter hora'a lirabim. B'siman tov u'mazel tov.
You'll forgive me if I'm a bit overwhelmed at the moment. I just wanted to thank all of you for joining me here today to celebrate. It was 1 year ago, almost exactly 1 year ago, that I was sitting surrounded by hundreds of people in Ramaz and eagerly anticipating the graduation of 3 of my colleagues, the first graduating class from Yeshivat Maharat. And sitting in that room, feeling that energy, and knowing there was a live stream, there were 500 people in the room, and there were more than 500 more watching it online, and people posting, and I turned to Adam, who's now my husband, who was joining me there that day, and I turned to him and I said, you know, sitting here in this room, if I wasn't here in this room, and I was one of those people seeing it on Facebook, reading it in the newspaper, I would know at that moment that I wanted to be there. I would just know I would want to be there. I would feel bad that I wasn't there, and it was at that moment that I knew in my heart that I was in the right place. And a lot has changed in the past year, both for Yeshivat Maharat and also for me. The Yeshiva, just this last year, and the Yeshiva has been tremendous, adding new students, new colleagues, new friends, new voices, seeing my former classmates flourish in their new roles. It's been a really tremendous year for the Yeshiva. And I was thinking, what change has happened over the past 4 years since I've been in the Yeshiva? And I think this past year, the change has felt the most palpable for me, and I think for a lot of others. Yesterday, we read the Parsha of Shalach. We read about the Meraglim. And these Meraglim were 12 leaders, 10 of whom came back, saw the challenges that were ahead, and said it's impossible. 2 of the Meraglim, Kalev and Yoshua, came back, and they said, no, we can do it. what's the difference between Caleb and Yehoshua and the 10 others? They saw exactly the same landscape. They saw exactly the same difficulties ahead. And I was thinking that the difference is perspective. And from where I'm standing today, I think the perspective is quite clear, and all of you here today, I'm sure, join me in that. And I was reading Rabbi Mark Angel wrote a very interesting comment about Parshat Shalach that I really identify with. He said you had the pessimism of the 10, and he also said you had the optimism of the 2. But yet, things didn't turn out well. They didn't end up making it. And he said there's another ingredient that you need, not only optimism. And he said that that's realism. And I found myself the past 4 years being both an optimistic but very realistic voice in this process. And without the realism of the founders of Rabbi Sarah and Rabbi Weiss, without the board, the advisory board, the faculty, we can be as optimistic as we want, but we wouldn't be standing here today. So it's the combination of that positive thinking perspective, but also the reality of how do we get this done, how do we make this happen? And that's been an amazing thing of all the things that I've learned, all the Torah that I've learned, this idea of perspective, of to realize where you're standing, to realize the landscape, to see what's ahead, and to figure out the best way to forge forward. And that's been the hugest lesson that I've learned at Yeshivat Maharat. So I want to thank you. So besides the faculty and the board and my students, my fellow students that I've learned with, there are many others that I want to thank. Devorah, I'm humbled to be standing here today in your presence. I've learned tremendous amounts from you. You've been a mentor and a role model since I can remember being in Drisha as a high school student. So thank you so much for all that you've done, really. And I want to thank the communities that have invited us in. I see Rabbi Evan here is from Ohav Shalom and Merrick. So we got a phone call about a little over 2 years ago from Rabbi Evan saying to Maharat, I want a student to come to my shul. And it's been a tremendous opportunity to be welcomed into that community with open arms, to get an opportunity to work in the community, to develop relationships, to be there for bar and bat mitzvah, also to be there for shivas. And it's just been a tremendous opportunity. And I wanted to thank you for that. So thank you. And for all of the other communities that have invited us in, and all of the supporters who I'm not going to be able to mention today, all of the people that after I give a shiur, no matter where I am, or I deliver a drasha, and they come up to me afterwards, and I see my colleagues smiling, because we've all had this experience, and they just come up, and they're overwhelming with support. And there's nothing, I can't even thank all the individuals properly, but just that feeling of carrying us towards where we're going, of accepting us and embracing us has been tremendous. There's somebody who I wanted to acknowledge today who's not able to be here today. I want to also acknowledge Lila's dad, who I'm sorry I never had the opportunity to meet, but I feel like through your sharing about your father and what he stood for and all of his support for you, I feel very honored to carry this award in his name, so thank you very much. And my rabbi, who I grew up with, Rabbi Ezra Labaton. So Rabbi Ezra Labaton, I don't know if many of you know him, but he was my rabbi since I was a baby. And he's a tremendous, tremendous person, a visionary, a philosopher, a posek, a pastoral guide. He was the complete package. And he passed away a few months ago, right before Adam and our wedding. So it's sad that he's missing these exciting events and milestones in my life, but I really feel his support and his spirit with me. And he was very, very much supportive of the fact that I was going into spiritual leadership. So I just want to acknowledge him today. And I want to acknowledge my families. So a lot has changed in these past year. It was 1 year ago that Adam, who's now my husband. I introduced him to the Maharat community by bringing him to graduation. Can't say he didn't know what he was getting into. He ended up being in the photo spread in the New York Times the next day. So you can't ever say he didn't know what he was signing up for. But it was amazing that my colleagues opened him with open arms, and when a few months later we got engaged, we got from Rory and Russell a Real Men Marry Maharat t-shirt that has now become a tradition. So last but not least, I want to thank my husband Adam for being my partner, my support, and just none of this would be possible without you. So I want to thank you for coming along on this wild ride with me. Thank you.
Rory Picanese, please rise. Achotenu ad hayi lalfei rabava.
Rory, even before you came to St. Louis, you were already touching the lives of the people around you. You ran a minyan in your home, together with Russell, that made all different types feel welcome. Your interfaith work was and is so inspiring to all of us, and you helped arrange a series of speakers from different faith communities to come speak in your second year at the yeshiva. You were part of the yeshiva before I was part of the yeshiva. Before there was really a full-time program, you leaped with faith and hope that we would be able to train and place you. For this past year as a fourth-year student, you've been part of the clergy team in Beis Abe, working closely with Rabbi Schafter and the board of the shul, to whom we all owe a debt of gratitude. Your confidence as a teacher of Torah was apparent from the first day of Shiur. You were extremely hardworking and consistently modeled what it meant to be present in the Beit Midrash. You also have the unique ability to name and give voice to those things that people might be feeling, but few are owning. That type of human sensitivity is an extraordinary gift that you should continue to cherish and develop for the rest of your life. This has no doubt already served you well in your Avodat HaKodesh. Seeking justice and peace is part of who you are. Whether fighting on behalf of the prenup or working for religion with peace, your activism continues to inspire us all. Together with Russell, Daria, and Susie, did they already sneak out? No. Okay. You have already taken St. Louis by storm, and this moment will only catapult you further. Thank you for what you have given to the yeshiva for these many years. It is my honor to call upon Rabbi Daniel Sperber.
Rory Picanese has been found worthy and granted authority to teach and determine halachic rulings for the Jewish people, and has been ordained as a spiritual leader and decisor of Jewish law. Bat Sheva Tzipora Bat Ben Sion Chaim Rivka. It's the same person, apparently. נמצאה ראויה להיות מנהיגה רוחנית ולהורות הלכה בישראל, והוסמכה בהתר הוראה לרבים. I decided to take a page out of Rabbi Avi Weiss's mode of behavior and be chutzpahdik, and to seize the podium as I have it. It's quite unexpected, and Rory will have to forgive me. I want to assert very clearly that I examined these two remarkable young ladies very rigorously. I'm sure it wasn't an easy experience for them, but somehow or other they just survived. and found them highly motivated, extremely intelligent, very discerning, and with a very capable knowledge of the sort of material that they need to have in order to fill the role as halachic and spiritual leaders. Of late, there's been a resurgence of criticism on the part of very renowned and respectable Talmidei Chachamim, both in Israel, England, and here in the United States. Criticisms of the new directions that are developing in the modern Orthodox world, directions which give greater role and authority to women in ritual and in leadership. It should be noticed that most of the criticism was of a very generic nature, and it scarcely touched upon or challenged our understanding of the classical Jewish rabbinic sources on which our argumentation is based. The main argument was that these innovative directions constitute a breach with tradition. I wish to state very clearly that quite the contrary is true. Innovation is the hallmark of Jewish halachic tradition. Halakha always adapted and changed within given parameters throughout all generations. The petrification, the stagnation of halakha, the lack of movement, is a breach with tradition. Halakha comes from the root haloch, to move, to step forward, to progress. That is how halakha has to function. And that is how Jewish leadership has to give that type of direction. These wonderful young graduates have made a move through the rite of passage. This was only a first stage for them. They have to be keenly aware that they have to continue to deepen their knowledge and understanding, to learn from their mentors' experience, in order to keep moving forward, lalechet behalakha, to progress, in order to truly achieve the goals of their roles. Tiyena bruchot.
Thank you, Rabbi Sperber. Thank you, Rabbi Fox. Thank you, Rabbi Weiss. And thank you to all of you here and online who are joining us on this momentous occasion. Last week, we celebrated the holiday of Shavuot. There's a gift that I received from Maharat Abbey Brown Shire, an amazing midrash that I have had the privilege to teach every year on Shavuot since learning it from her. Midrash Rabbah on Shemot Parsha Yitro says, Vayidaber Elokim et kol hadvarim ha'ela le'mor. God spoke all these words, saying. These words introduce the Ten Commandments. But why is this word kol used here? The Torah could simply have said, God spoke all these words. God spoke these words, saying. So kol is meant to include something else. What is it that kol includes? What are all of the words that God spoke? Rabbi Yitzchak said, that which the prophets were to prophesy in all future generations was also received at Mount Sinai. V'lo kol hanevi'im bilvad kiblu misinai nevuatan. Not only did all of the prophets receive their prophecy at Sinai, ela af hachachamim haomdim bechol dor vador kol echad ve'echad kibel et shalom misinai. But so too, the Torah scholars who arise in each generation, each and every one received their share of the Torah at Sinai. All of Torah was given at Mount Sinai. The written Torah and the oral Torah. The oral Torah that was spoken to us by the mouths of the prophets. The oral Torah that we have recorded and canonized into the Mishnah and the Gemara. And the oral Torah that exists in our conversations, in our debates, in our discussions. Even the Torah that we teach today in the 21st century, all was given at Mount Sinai. And it has been waiting for the right person to come along and bring it into the world. For too long, our community has allowed Torah given at Sinai to remain hidden. We have prevented individuals, we have prevented women from realizing their share of the Torah. And in doing so, we have withheld Torah from Israel. Rav Avi, you looked at the world and you saw that there was Torah missing. You saw that there was Torah that was waiting to be spoken. And you've dedicated your life to making sure that this Torah of women not only survives, but thrives. Rabbi Sarah and Reb Jeff, you took a vision and you made it a reality. The Torah that we teach owes its life to you. Chachama Dvorah, you have been our model of the incredible Torah study that can exist when one embraces her share of Torah Misinai. Thank you for your courage, and most of all, thank you for sharing that Torah with us. There are so many people who have been with me on this journey, and I owe all of them an enormous debt of gratitude. To my classmates, past and present, only you can truly understand the roller coaster that we're on together. We've had our ups and downs and our twists, and in the hardest times, you've taught me the true meaning of love and dedication. The community has opened itself up to female leadership because the community recognized the incredible women that you are. Rabbi Chaim Schaffner, a year ago, I was packing up and preparing to move to St. Louis. We talked about what the role of a Maharat might look like there, and you said to me, I don't know what it looks like yet, because you haven't done it yet. You've given me the space to experiment and explore while being a mentor, a colleague, and a friend. You, together with the entire St. Louis Jewish community, have embraced me and my family with open arms, and for that, we're so fortunate and grateful. To my family, my parents, my aunts and uncles, my brothers on live stream, Most of the time, you don't understand what it is that I'm doing. But that never stops you from believing in it, because I'm the one doing it. You've been my biggest fans, and I love you so much. Russell, few people in this world know what it means to be the husband of a Maharat. And you do get a t-shirt for it. You are my partner and my cheerleader. Somehow, when you're in the audience, struggling to keep two kids quiet, while I stand up on stage in front of a group of people, I keep expecting to look at you and find you harried and frustrated, and you always look at me with a smile and a face filled with pride. Thank you for being with me on this wild ride. There's so many more of you, here and not here, and it's simply not possible to name everyone who has touched me and made me the person that I am, and made this moment a reality. But I hold you all in my heart. It is because of all of you who have taught us, all of you who have mentored us, all of you who have supported us, and all of you who have loved us, that our voice of Torah is coming into the world. And not only our Torah, but the Torah of all the people who we meet, all of the people who we teach, all of the people who see us and recognize that there are no barriers to Torah. Kol echad ve'echad kibel et shalom miSinai. Each and every one of us received a share of Torah at Sinai. And that Torah will no longer be withheld from Israel. Thank you.
Tov lehodot l'Hashem. Tov lehodot l'Hashem. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Hashem. Tov lehodot l'Hashem. Tov lehodot l'Hashem. Tov lehodot l'Hashem. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Hashem. Ulehagid baboker chasecha. Ulehagid baboker chasecha. V'yamunatcha baleilot. V'yamunatcha baleilot. Tov Tov lehodot l'Hashem, Tov lehodot l'Hashem, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Hashem, Tov lehodot l'Hashem, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Hagi b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Hagi b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Everyone together! Tov lehodot l'Hashem, Tov lehodot l'Hashem, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Hashem, Tov lehodot l'Hashem, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Hagid b'boker, boker chasecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Hagid b'boker, boker chasecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Ya-da-da-nai, nai, nai, ya-da-da-nai, nai, nai, ya-da-da-nai. Get up and dance! Ya-da-da-nai, nai, nai, ya-da-da-nai, nai, nai. Tov lehodot l'Hashem, Tov lehodot l'Hashem, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Hashem, Tov lehodot l'Hashem, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Hagid b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Hagid b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Ya-da-da-nai-nai-nai, ya-da-da-nai-nai-nai, hay-ya-ya-ya-da-nai-nai-nai, ya-da-da-nai-nai-nai, hay-la-la-nai-nai-nai, hay-ya-ya-ya-da-nai-nai-nai, hay-da-da-ya-nai-nai-nai, ya-nai-nai-nai, hay-ya-ya-ya-nai-nai, hay-ya-nai-nai-nai, ya-nai-nai-nai, hay-nai-nai-nai-nai. Tov lehodot l'Hashem, Tov lehodot l'Hashem, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Hashem, lehodot l'Hashem, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Hagid b'boker, boker chasecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Hagid b'boker, boker chasecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Ya-da-da-nai-nai-nai, ya-da-da-nai-nai-nai, ha-na-nai-nai-nai-nai-nai-nai, na-na-nai-nai-nai, ha-nai-nai-nai-nai-nai, ay-ay-ay, hagid b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Hagid b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Hagid b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot. Hagid b'boker, boker chastecha, yemunascha b'leilot.
Please be seated.
Thank you. I just need to put this back.
Yes.
Please be seated.
Oh, do you want them to stay?
No, I think just for, no. I think we're done.
Yeah. I don't know that they're Shh. But you know what? Let them go sit down because Rav Avi can address them. Should I invite Rav Avi up? It is only appropriate now, following a nigun, that we call upon our founder, our teacher, and our friend, Rav Avi Weiss, to address the graduates.
Where's Rory? Where's Victoria? I feel in a very, very deep way the custom of breaking a glass at the moment of greatest joy. This is a moment of great joy. But we break the glass because our hearts go out to the 3 young, innocent men who have been kidnapped, and to Chayalei Tzahal, my grandchildren, your children and grandchildren, who have now been deployed and are on the search mission. May they all come home safely. Here we are at the second smicha ceremony of Yeshivat Maharat. And first and foremost, we offer, as we have been offering, the Hodu Lashem Ki Tov Ki Le'olam Chasto. We offer thanksgiving to God that He has allowed us to experience this moment. A God to whom thanksgiving is owed because the whole world is reflective of His kindness. Le'olam chasto, eternally grateful to His kindness. There is a power to seconds. As I was listening to the joy of the first, I was thinking that there's power to the seconds. The first is the breakthrough. The second gives permanence to that breakthrough. It's no small matter to celebrate the seconds. It means that the breakthrough will, God willing, continue on. It's not coincidental that in our Torah there is much discussion about seconds. When you think about it, in the end, the world really emerges from a second creation. When Noah and his family come from the waters a second time, and God, for a second time, says to humankind, Peru umilu et haaretz, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And it's the second Aseret Hadibrot which endure. And in fact, when one thinks about the holiness of the land of Israel, it's the second entry into the land of Israel in the time of Korash, King Cyrus. It's that second entry whose holiness endures forever. As the Gemara says, Kedusha Shniyah kitcha l'shata ula'atid lavo. In a similar sense, our second smicha ceremony sends a message that smicha for women as full members of the clergy is Bezrat Hashem here to stay. And next year, God willing, we'll talk about the third, which will make it a real chazaka. Permit me to repeat what's been said, but I must offer thanks to those who made this moment possible, to the heroic Rabbi Sarah, to our Rosh Yeshiva extraordinaire, Rabbi Jeff Fox, to my dear friend, the teacher of all of us, Rabbi Daniel Spirba, to the entire faculty and administration and board and supporters, and of course, Chachama Devorah Zlatshauer, you've inspired so many. But this afternoon, most of all, I'm sure everyone would agree, to the students of Maharat, and of course, to Victoria and to Rory. In the words of tomorrow's daf, Bama avarchech, how can I bless you? It was Robert Kennedy who said at one time, some people see things as they are and ask why. Other people see things as they should be and ask, why not? A century earlier, the American essayist Ralph Waldo Emerson, he wrote, and I'm paraphrasing, go where the path may lead, but if there is no path, make sure to leave a trail. And millennia earlier, Yosef is described by his brothers as a Baal HaChalomot, as a master of dreams. And so, Rory and Victoria, my colleagues, I bless you. I bless you that you should be able to look at things as they should be and ask, why not? I bless you that even if there is no path, leave a trail. And I bless you that while so many people walk the face of this earth and they dream, I bless you that you not only dream, but that you be masters of your dreams. And this is my deepest blessing, that you recognize your infinite and endless God-given talents and be the best that you can be. Realize your complete potential. And in the words of yesterday's Parsha, the words of Kalev, Alo na'aleh, see to it that you rise. Not only that you rise, but Alo na'aleh, not only to the heights, but to the heights of heights. The sweet singer of Israel, David HaMelech, the great psalmist, said it best when he wrote, Mi ya'aleh behar Hashem. Who will go up? Who will ascend the mountain of the Lord? And sometimes, Victoria and Rory, the best answer to a question is the question. Who will ascend the mountain of the Lord? The one who is ascending, the one who is climbing, the one whose grasp is beyond one's reach. Yes, the one who is reaching higher and higher, not only alo, but alo na'aleh. Victoria and Rory, these are dark days. The world is too full of darkness, and it needs your light. Am Yisrael needs you. Medinat Yisrael needs you. Kol Yoshvei Tevel needs you. Go out there, Victoria. Go out there, Rory. Feel the presence of God and go out there and change the world. Mazal Tov. Siman Tov, Mazal.
We'd like to invite everybody upstairs to the third floor to join us for a Sudat Mitzvah in honor of our graduates. Upstairs.